Well, even as US President-elect Donald Trump prepares to select his new administration team, sources say there could be a couple of Indian Americans in his team. So how did the Indian American community vote in this presidential election, and how the coming of Trump could impact India-US ties? DD India's Amritpal Singh explores in Florida. Take a look.
As the election results trickle in, more and more analysis is being done as to who voted for whom, which communities went which way. While there's data for how the Latinos voted, how the black men voted, but there is no survey or data for how the Indian American community voted. Perhaps because the Indian American community is very small. In days to come, it'll emerge as to which way the Indian American community went. I have with me a panel of people. I have with me Professor Ankur Agarwal. He teaches at the Florida Atlantic University. I have with me Dr. Joseph Chalil. He's a Republican supporter. And I also have with me Dr. Sajan Kurian. He is a Democratic supporter, and in fact he contested the county elections. I'll come to both you gentlemen. First to you, Professor Agarwal. How did the Indian community this time around vote in these elections?
Indian community is quite evenly divided between the Republicans and the Democratic side. They have their issues from both the perspective. I think the voting pattern in the Indian community, a lot of time you have the lineage where you have a strong Democratic hold. You always vote for Democratic. There are a lot of affluent Indian American families who are always going for Republicans. They would stay Republicans. So not a lot of time there is a tactical shift in the Indian voting communities. But I absolutely feel that there was a more support towards onto the Republican ticket this time from the Indian Asian community.
Okay, but you know, the Indian American community at one point of time used to be, or most of it used to be Democratic. Why has this shift, according to you, taken place?
It's not true to assume that Indian community is always democratic.
No, it used to be, or majority of it used to be, say, 20 years back. Why has the shift happened?
Again, it also depends upon the Indian community from the economic standard perspective. So you have a lot of affluent families who are now more and more affiliated towards the Republican side of the party, and then you have the the young voters who come in from India and they are starting the families and things like that. They are more leaning towards a Democrat. So it really depends upon which segment of the Indian population are you looking forward to, and then that way you will have a better understanding of the segmentation.
Dr. Chalil, let me come to you. Your red tie clearly points out that your Republican leanings. What worked for the Republicans?
So this is a completely different electorate this time. Completely realigned the party. Trump's Republican Party is not the party of President Bush. The Trump's party is not the Reagan's party. They changed a lot of things, so it is not just the minority voting. So you'll see a lot of blue collar workers, like people who are not college educated, white people, white females, Hispanic male, Hispanic females, even Asian Indians and other Asians all voted for Trump because economy was so bad. It's not just here, again, worldwide. Because of the COVID inflation and overspending during COVID, the price of everything went up.
So you're saying Trump got the vote on economy because that was directly affecting people?
Economy was the number one item.
All right.
Number two, I would say immigration. The news about illegal immigrations coming in and they're taking over cities, crime rates going up. That was a big deal. America is a country of immigrants, but they're not a country of illegal immigrants. They wanted legal immigration to happen. So when President Biden let the borders open and let people let in without knowing who they are, like I have family who are waiting for 16 years from India, trying to get a green card here, and these guys are walking in, next day, and they are given flight tickets to travel anywhere they want.
So immigration worked in the favor of.
Yeah.
Let me bring you in, Sajan Kurian. What didn't work for the Democrats? What went wrong?
I think the Democrats played well. They did their best. I think the major issue is economy. And the Democrats, in terms of Vice President Kamala Harris's ticket, was she didn't have enough time to project, to reach out to the undecided people.
No, but there is a critique of Kamala Harris in this election that her message wasn't clear enough. While Trump spoke very clearly, he was very clear about what he stood for, and Kamala Harris was dithering.
You're absolutely right. Donald Trump's administration had a strategy which had a consistent message for the people, and our message we should have resonated amongst the young voters who were the major voting bloc that would have decided this factor. Right now, we have about 15,000 people that has not voted. As an Asian myself and a chair of the Asian caucus, I think we did not have enough people reach out to our Asian communities to build it all together. And I think it's a time to reflect on the grassroots levels of people trying to bring everyone together.
Let me ask Dr. Chalil. Dr. Chalil, Donald Trump's made some very tall claims during his campaign, saying that he will carry out the biggest mass deportation in the history of America. According to Homeland Studies statistics, about 11 million illegal migrants are in the country. He alleged 21 million. Whatever be the reality, is that really possible for him to do?
It is possible. Again, there are strategies on how they can do it. They can deputize local law enforcement. Especially his interest is getting the illegal aliens who are criminals out first, as opposed to everybody in the whole country.
On the economy, how does he, plan to get the economy back on track, and that too fast, given, as Professor Agarwal was saying, the rising cost of living. You were also talking about the rising cost of living affecting people directly, and that's why he's got the mandate.
That is correct. Economy, I think the mandate is to fix it. He will unleash the power of natural resources in USA. America is sitting on more oil than Saudi Arabia. So if you will let more drilling happen, sell more American oil and reduce the price of transportation, the inflation will come down, which thereby the property, the price of grocery store values, the price of milk, the price of egg will come down.
Okay. Let me bring an independent voice back in. Professor Agarwal, during the campaign, you saw it a very deeply divided society, as American society divided right from the middle. How is the gap, the polarization gap, going to be filled in over the next 4 years?
I think this time, if you see during the election time, lot of traditional party votes already crossed their party lines and they voted. For example, there was a tactical shift you can see from the Hispanic vote. Similarly, if you look into the Jewish population vote, because of the strong support of Republican Party towards Israel, a lot of Jewish votes also crossed over to the Republicans from Democrat and they voted for it. So in the end, it is the policies which unifies the country. It's not the party line. If you put up those policies, it allows people to come together and then in the end, the elections are over and the country unifies. And that's how the country, this becomes the world's biggest democracy in the world.
So, Mr. Kurian, Kamala Harris, during her concession speech, said the election is over, the fight is not. What does she mean by that? And isn't it time for the Democrats to start up, working with the Republicans to see that this divide that has been created in the American community during the campaign, which was, some say, went down to the depths that's never been seen before, needs to be bridged?
Absolutely agree with you. The gap, to bridge the gap, it's going to take a while. There is a racial divide amongst our communities right now. Patching up is going to take a while because right now the people's choice is economy, bringing food on the table, and the middle class is being affected. So that's what the mandate says. The aftermath of what the Trump administration is going to do, the impact that comes, we do not know yet, because this is a new revolution right now. So if they deliver and the impact onto our families is yet to be seen. And I believe that we can work on both sides of the aisle and try to see what's best for the people. And that's how we should go. As to dividing us within ourselves, whether if it's Latinos, African Americans, Asians, but I think we will see as to what it. I have a optimistic approach towards. I think America will prevail eventually as a good democracy.
So, Dr. Chalil, do you think, with the coming in of Donald Trump, it's going to affect Indo-US relationship?
I would definitely think it will affect Indo-US relationships. I think it's going to be very positive. Number one, I believe the relationship between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump is very strong. So there's a personal friendship between those two leaders, which will definitely help. Number two, I believe President Trump will try to control imports from China and the policies towards China and policies towards Pakistan and policies towards Bangladesh, which will also be good to India. So it'll be stabilize the region. He will be cooperating with India on all anti-terrorism policies. He may not be sending American troops anywhere, which is good. So I believe it will be a true partnership, an equal partnership, yet to see how, but of course, America will be pushed. Trump's purpose is not to push India. Trump is for America first. He wants to promote American manufacturing, American jobs.
That brings in concerns, especially for India, that what if he imposes tariffs on Indian imports?
It's possible that he could raise salary requirements on H-1B visas. There are some Indian imports which he could demand that maybe motorcycles like Harley Davidson could be given a waiver or a matching tariffs, or maybe a Tesla car could become cheaper in India to import, and in vice versa. Trump is a businessman. He wants to negotiate. He wants to make a deal. So India, I'm pretty sure Prime Minister Modi will want to make a deal with America as opposed to fighting with America.
So clearly, bets are being hedged here that with the coming of Donald Trump, the relationship between India and the United States, which does stand on its own legs because it's a special, comprehensive, strategic partnership covering a wide array of areas, will get a new vigor given the chemistry between the two leaders. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Florida.